Oh my goodness. What's up, Mets fans? How's it going, guys? I'm telling you right now, we have literally so much to get into in tonight's post-game show because we'll be breaking down the game that just ended along with game one today that we did an in-game live stream on. So how's it going, everybody? Thank you guys so much for chiming in for the latest show here in WardyNYM. Like, we have so much to get into, and I know we all have the most sour taste in our mouth. This was my biggest concern. This is what sucks about doubleheaders as well, covering them right after, because the Mets won the first game, which was awesome, but the Mets losing the second game just takes all the momentum, like all the swag, all the fun stuff that we had feeling away. And a lot of overreactions are destined to come in the chat that I already see, to which I'm not going to condone. I do see a bunch of donations I'll be addressing shortly, but guys, I'll be breaking down everything that there is to know about this whirlwind of a game. I kid you not, this today, at minimum, took a year off my life. This game too, specifically, just absolutely nuts. Thankfully, the Mets split the doubleheader. That's what I expected them to do heading into this series. They were literally this close to having themselves sweep the doubleheader. The umps were completely blind for both sides today, but decided to have an expanded strike zone, quite generous there in the ninth inning to favor the Cardinals. But don't get me wrong, the ump was horrendous for both sides all game long. So many bad things. I see so much nonsense in the chat already. And you guys just, I'm telling you right now, I know everyone's raw with their emotion. I 100% get that. But like I said, we got a lot to break down about these two games. So I really appreciate everyone chiming in, folks. You know the drill. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe on, as always, folks. Help us get to 100 likes for the first short-term goal. And help us get to, of course, 16K subs for next short-term goal here on the channel. I just have the list of the amount of things I need to break down for you guys between these two games. But let's talk about this first one. Hunter, I'm going to tell you right now, you're done with this team. You're quite literally an idiot. Stop acting erratic because the Mets lost by 1 run and split a doubleheader. You're going to be okay. The team's 10 games above 500. I promise you, you're going to be okay. And I'm ready to rant with people right now because I know how bad you guys are going to react. And I absolutely hate the fact that I have to be talking right now after a loss like that, because no one is going to pay attention nearly enough to the Mets winning game one today. All they're going to focus about, of course, is that loss in game two. But let's get into it, guys. Like I said, a lot more to get into. And yeah, Lindor did not have a good day at the plate today, 100%. I'm not gonna defend it and say that, oh, you know, he got criminally unlucky. No, he didn't have a good day at the plate. He was the final out there. The Mets, however, they have themselves to blame. It's not just that Lindor at bat there in the ninth. It's everything prior. It's when you literally have bases loaded with less than 2 outs and can't do enough there. When you have the bases were walked loaded in the game two tonight, and they simply could not get enough going. Same way in game one, the Mets had bases loaded with less than 2 outs. Thankfully, they were able to at least score a run. But this is a Mets team that had their opportunities all game long. When it comes to game two, they have themselves to blame on the offensive front, simply put. That's on them. That is not on the pitching by any stretch. And yeah, we have a lot to break down, like I said. So enough of me ranting. Let's get into it, folks. Again, I really, really appreciate everyone chiming in, guys. So let's start with game two. Then we'll get into game one after. We'll end things on more of a positive note, right? But let's talk about the negative, the nitty and gritty. What a whirlwind of a day. What a ridiculous game two between the Mets and the Cardinals. When I tell you that my heart was palpitating, I was sick to my stomach. I kid you not. I didn't even know if I would be able to muster to do the show tonight because of how much emotions and how everything that I was living and dying with every single inning in game two today. It was as simple as that. It was absolutely ridiculous. But we saw things start off great for the Mets early on. It was Steven Matz facing off against Taijuan Walker. Ty overall had a very solid start for the Mets tonight. Kept the Mets in it. Wasn't his best outing. Wasn't better than his previous outing where he went 7 scoreless. But no less, Ty still had a solid job. 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 94 pitches. He kept the Mets in this game. That was really important for a team that got off on the right foot. Mark Canha, who got the start in game two, not game one, had a pinch hit in game one, didn't get a hit, but Canha turned on a beautiful pitch set up from Steven Matz to set him up for a solo bomb. Canha's second home run of the year. I believe only his 4th or 5th extra base hit, but he definitely made that one count. Mets got off to that early 1-0 lead that they've famously been doing. Really feels like almost every game they're scoring at least 1 run there in the first. That's how common it has been. But then as we get to the 4th inning, Paul Goldschmidt Goldie, who's been murdering the Mets his entire career, did exactly that today. And yeah, we saw him doing both game 1 and game 2, but especially here in game 2, had himself that RBI double to tie the game. And then we got ourselves to the 5th inning for this one between the Mets and the Cardinals. Eduardo Escobar finally breaking out of that slump. And I see so much nonsense talked about in regards to not just Escobar, but others. And look, Escobar will get to that throw soon. I'm promising you guys right now, even if Escobar had a true handle on that throw there in the 9th, I assure you that, yes, he was still going to be safe. I feel very confident in that. So everyone's going to say that, oh my goodness, Escobar, I can't believe you bought. I don't think that Escobar completely botched that throw. I thought he handled it a lot better given the situation, charging that one. But talking about Eddie in a positive manner, at least, got his second bomb of the year. Oppo off of Steven Matz. That's definitely a positive sign. He's hit in 3 straight games now. I thought Eddie had a very good day at the plate. That's why I have him as my number 2-star Wardy's top 5. Again, people are going to gripe about him and his throw. I can understand that, and it was frustrating. Trust me, it broke my heart when that happened, but I do feel confident saying I'm pretty sure Tyler O'Neill would have been safe there regardless, and that run would have came in. But no less, Eduardo gets himself an Oppo bomb there in the 5th, and the Mets get back the lead 2-1 here through 5 innings. But then we get the bomb the 5th, and that lead goes away right away. Taijuan Walker gets work there. Edman gets himself an RBI triple. Paul Goldschmidt gets himself his 2nd RBI double of the day and his 3rd RBI of the day because he had that solo shot in game 1 that we'll get into in a little bit. And then we get to the 6th inning. The Mets try to rally. They're starting to bounce back. Mark Canha, Eduardo Escobar, and Pete Alonso all walk to load the bases with less than 2 outs. Escobar strikes out, however, and Mcneal pops up. 2 poor at-bats back-to-back, and the Mets couldn't even squander a run when they had bases juiced with less than 2. It was inexcusable enough when the Mets were in a situation where they were not able to get more than a run in the first game with bases loaded less than 2 outs. Mets have not been great so far this year with bases loaded. They've been strong with runners in scoring position, but not with bases loaded situations. That's something that needs to change because they've had wasted opportunities. We saw that today. But then when we get to the 7th inning, Brandon Nimmo unfortunately fouled a ball off of his knee. He is listed as day-to-day. It was just announced actually through Anthony DeComo that they're saying on SNY, and I'm seeing on Twitter right now through my notifications. Nimmo looks like he's going to be fine, but losing him for at least a couple games is going to suck, especially when the Mets still have 2 more games in this Cardinals matchup, which Nimmo definitely has some favorable matchups in the final 2 games. So that I know Nimmo didn't do anything offensively for the Mets today, and I didn't really expect him to do too much, even though he got a little unlucky with some of his outs. No less, losing Brandon for a couple days is definitely going to suck, but thankfully it's nothing serious, no fracture or anything like that. But then as we get to the 8th inning, folks, Francisco Lindor walks, and Eduardo Escobar somehow, someway reaches base because of, yes, after striking out, it goes back behind the backstop because you saw their catcher in Kinsner wasn't able to handle it, a pass ball, and both runners are safe there with 1 or 2 outs. And then Jeff McNeil does what Jeff McNeil does best. That's why he's the number 1 star tonight, folks. Even after the Mets lost game 2, got himself a beautiful RBI single to tie this one, but that as well was short-lived because then when we got to the 9th, Tyler O'Neill happened. Eduardo Escobar in that throw. Again, I thought he would have been safe regardless. You can say what you want about that, but I really, really feel strong when I say that I do think that Escobar did, regardless of how he would have thrown that. I think he would have been safe there. But then we get the bomb of the 9th again. Dom walks, Guillorme single, and then the Mets aren't able to execute, unfortunately. Pete Alonso did not have a good day at the plate. A bunch of Mets didn't have great days at the plate. Had a far better day offensively in game 1 than game 2. And you might be wondering, how is that the case when the Mets scored 3 runs in both games? Yes, but the Mets offensively with their approach, their expected batting average, and just how they were working the counts, in my opinion, was better in game 1 than game 2. Because in game 2, if you look at them, expected batting average in today was 128. They got on base a boatload. They had 6 walks in game 2, and they just simply couldn't do enough of it. This is a game that they absolutely should have won. And between absolute dog shit, pardon my French, dog you know what, umpires, that so many calls today. Again, it wasn't just on the Mets. It was on the Cardinals too. We have to be aware of that. Not going to be completely biased. There were plenty of calls that went the Mets' way today, and there were plenty of calls that did not go the Mets' way. And no, we're not going to start booing Lindor. Stop the nonsense, Nicky. Lay down the crack pipe. It's okay. Everyone's not going to be great every single game, I assure you. But getting back to what I was saying, this was a tough loss for the New York Mets. This one hurts. It definitely puts a sour taste in your mouth, and it makes it that much more important for Mad Max Scherzer to have a strong start tomorrow. But more than anything, that the Mets actually back him up with his start, because Max has had some wasted starts already this year where he's been an absolute ace. And one of those starts is where he pitched 7 scoreless against the Cardinals, but the Mets simply couldn't do enough for him. Then Seth Lugo blew it there in the inning right after, I believe in the 8th, but thankfully the Mets came back and scored those 5 unearned in the 9th in the series opener back in late April against the Cardinals. But today, the Mets, game 2, man, oh man, is that gut-wrenching. That's all I got to say. And again, shout out everybody for chiming in, folks. I appreciate it. Like I said, I promise I'm going to be addressing as many of your all your donations, all your comments and concerns as soon as I possibly can. I just got to break down everything about this game, folks. No, Lindor is not trash, but I will say, yes, he did not have a good day today, 100%. I'm not going to act irrational and say that, oh my goodness, this is the worst player on the planet or anything like that. So if you want that reaction, I suggest going somewhere else because you're not going to find it here. Same way with everyone else in the lineup. Alonso trash. No, does it change the fact that Alonso did nothing at the plate today? No, it doesn't change either. He did nothing. You know, he did simply nothing. Nimmo as well. Nimmo, up until he got hurt, Nimmo didn't have a good day at the plate. Went 1 for 4 in game 2. I don't believe he had any hits in game 1. I'll double check though. But there are multiple Mets hitters that should have been better. J.D. Davis was absolutely horrendous in DH spot in game 2 for the Mets today. One of the biggest, there were plenty of bright spots in today's, today's both games that are going to completely get brushed over. But once more in game 2 for the Mets tonight, Taijuan Walker, like I said, he looks solid. Not his best outing, but definitely not his worst either. Kept the Mets in it, which was great. One of my top 5 that we have tonight, folks, is Adonis Medina. Medina has now pitched 5.2 scoreless innings for the Mets in his young career. He was acquired by the Mets in a trade with the Pittsburgh Pirates during the offseason, I believe. And man, oh man, has he looked fantastic. Has been able to get out of jams. And he was a call-up, again, last-minute call-up along with Steven Nagosic in the pen for this doubleheader today. And thankfully, again, they were able to get Medina in there, and he pitched 2.2 scoreless. So that was impressive. And in game 1, we saw 2 innings pitched scoreless by another reliever that will be getting to soon. But I know that we're going to want to continue to break down game 1 a little bit, game 2 a little bit further here. Adam Ottavino. Ottavino did not give up a run there. That was, pardon me. Yes, he did. That's my mistake. Was that run? I'm trying to think if he got an unearned run. I'm just double checking real quick, folks. Make sure that I'm not missing anything here. Ottavino did not get a charge with an earned run there. Yeah, I didn't think he would with that infield single by Tyler O'Neill there in the top of the 9th. Joely Rodriguez did not give up an earned run. Gave up 1 run, though, overall. 2 walks and 0.2 innings pitched. And yeah, if we go through the lineup for the Mets in game 2, guys, let's go through it. Brandon Nimmo, 1 for 4 with a double. Luis Gourmet, who had that awesome pinch hit single to try to rally the 9th. Again, you can never count the Mets out until they're final out. Just sucks that we aren't getting that magic that we have seen in previous games. Mets have now lost, 2 of their last 3 games, and all 3 of those games the Mets should have won. That's at least promising, knowing that the Mets should have won those games, and unfortunately for them, they just got themselves in their own way. As piss poor as the officiating was, and don't get me wrong, it was, you still need to be able to be better offensively, and the Mets simply weren't in game 2 today. Same thing with them offensively. Again, offense wasn't the issue with them in the series finale against the Mariners, but rather just unfortunate them falling short of that rally. The pitching they didn't have in that series finale. When you score 7 runs, that isn't the problem in that Mariners game. But going through the lineup further, Mark Canha 1 for 4, had that home run, which was impressive. Couldn't get more than that. Had some good worked at bats, but just couldn't get enough, unfortunately. Lindor 0 for 3 in game 2 today with that run scored and 2 walks. Got on base twice that you saw. Alonso 0 for 3 and a walk, I believe. Eduardo Escobar that we discussed. He's in my Warriors top 5 in game 2 on 1 for 4 with a run scored and a home run and that RBI. Jeff McNeil with that amazing 2-out RBI single to tie the game, even though that only lasted half an inning. And then J.D. Davis, like you said, 0 for 4. Terrible day at the plate for J.D. I did not like what I saw from him today, which was definitely not great to see. Jankowski 0 for 3 in game 2. Nito 0 for 3 in game 2. And that's really all that needs to be said, I think, about game 2, guys. I know the majority of every single comment that I'm going to be answering for you guys is going to be regarding game 2. No one's going to be talking about game 1. But now I'm going to shift the focus to game 1 because we need to talk about the positives, right? And the positive is the fact that the Mets at least won a game today. And again, rightfully so, should have won both. Game 1 today for the Mets that we did an in-game live stream on the channel. Let's see. Pardon me, guys. I lost my voice for a second. Yeah, everyone's just going to rag Lindor this entire chat. There's nothing I can do about it, regardless on even if he performs well. It's going to happen. So that's just how it is. I understand the frustrations. I was not happy with Lindor at the plate either, guys. But I'm sorry if I'm not going to go the length of saying that I absolutely despise the man the way that many of you guys are acting. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do that for any Met. That's just not how I am. And for good reason. But game one for the New York Mets, they ended up winning, of course, 3-1. Thankfully, and that was the game that everyone thought that the Mets were not going to win. Trevor Williams on the bump. You think, okay, a bullpen game, if we can get a decent 4 innings at least out of Williams, that would have been great. And he did exactly that. Williams could have even won 5 based on his pitch count at the very least. 4 innings pitch, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, 6 strikeouts. He looked phenomenal against Arenado and Goldschmidt especially. It was so impressive to see how Trevor Williams did in game one for the New York Mets. And the Mets, again, with their offense, they jumped on it. They started in the second. Dom Smith got a walk. Eduardo Escobar walked. Yorme got a base hit. Jankowski scored based off of fielder's choice that brought him the first run today. Jankowski, of course, got back-to-back starts with Starling Marte away on the bereavement list after the unfortunate passing of his grandmother unexpectedly today. My thoughts and prayers and condolences with him and his family during this troubling time. But going forward here, then we get the third inning, and Lindor reaches on an error that we saw there in game one. Mcneal with an RBI double, doing what McHits does best, and that is by exactly that, hitting and scoring runs. Alonso with the flyout that should have been a home run between the win and the den balls. It was a 960 expected batting average that should have been a bomb dead center, but it wasn't. Fell short. It didn't even fall on the warning track. It was ridiculous where Harrison Bader, his good buddy, catch that one. Dom, however, with a phenomenal at-bat. Dom had a great day at the plate today between both games, in my opinion. Even when he pinched it, Dom had 2 walks today, went 2 for 4 with that RBI double in game one to help increase the Mets lead to 3-0 at that point there in the third inning. That was so great to see. Back-to-back RBI doubles for the most part between Mcneal and Dom with that Alonso flyout in the middle. And then Paul Goldschmidt had that solo shot there in the 8th inning, but that didn't matter too much. Like Miles Michaelis, who's been the best starter for the Cardinals so far this season, did not have his stuff. The Mets worked his count so good so early. It was refreshing to see the Mets jump on Michaelis the way he did. He still ended up going 6 strong, gave up 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 runs total, and 2 earned runs, but was very happy to see how the Mets were able to jump on him. Just wish there was more because the Mets had endless opportunities both game one and game two. But between Trevor Williams and Jake Reed had a ridiculous inning in the 5th inning for the Mets. He threw like 40 pitches in his first appearance this year for the Amazons. The sidearm right-hander got out of the jam after having a couple guys on, walking a couple guys. And then I was freaking out thinking, Buck, why do you have Jake Reed back in for the second inning? Back-to-back innings for Jake Reed. I thought he would have been done. It looks like Colin Holderman was warming up. But no, Jake Reed then pitched a 6th inning and did an easy 1-2-3. Jake Reed, you can make an argument, could be in the Warriors top 5 along with Medina. Either one would suffice. He looked very solid, at least in that second one. And then after game one, he was actually optioned back down to AAA. It's funny enough. So he got work quite a bit, but I was impressed by Jake Reed again to get out of the jam when he didn't have his stuff there in the 5th inning, and then the 6th inning to have a quick one to help the Mets in their bullpen. Seth Lugo had a shutdown 7th inning for the Mets in game one. Edwin Diaz gave up a base hit, but he had 3 strikeouts, looking beautiful as always. Sugar Diaz got the save, and that's how the Mets won game one. And as we look through the lineup here, Brandon Nimmo 0 for 4 again in game one. He only had 1 hit today. He was 1 for 8 as in total. Hopefully he heals back up and we'll be back with the Mets. If not, by the end of this series, and hopefully at the beginning of the Rockies series at the earliest. Francisco Lindor 1 for 4 with a run scored in game one. Jeff McNeil, again, McHits was the story of the day, in my opinion. I expected him to ball out, and he surely did that. 2 for 4 with a run scored and a double and an RBI. Then Pete Alonso 0 for 4. Alonso, again, did not have a hit today. Was not good to see what Pete just was chasing too many pitches, in my opinion. Dom, beautiful at-bats, 2 for 4 with 2 walks a total. But again, that run scored thanks to the RBI double. And then we saw Eduardo Escobar 2 for 3 in game one and have that bomb that we saw in game two. Escobar is going to get far more criticism than he's deserved of, than he really deserves to have, in my opinion, for that throw in game two. But I digress. Luis Guillorme 1 for 3 and also had that single in game two in the pinch hit in the 9th. Marcana 0 for 1 in game one with the pinch hit. Jankowski 0 for 3. Mazika 0 for 3. Jankowski unfortunately wasn't able to do much for the Mets, but at least got the offense starting game one with that fielder's choice. And I'll be getting all your comments soon, folks. I really do appreciate everyone chiming in. Continue smashing that like and subscribe button, folks. Really does mean a lot. Help us get to 200 plus likes by the end of the show. Whenever we wrap things up, I'll be doing this for at minimum of an hour tonight. And for people on replay, I'll be cutting things off before we, of course, get to questions. That way you don't have to see the entire segment in case you're not interested. I know you guys just want to see me break down the games, but as a whole, I'm really frustrated right now, okay? I'm beyond frustrated, and there's a spoiled, frustrated sense of me. The Mets are 10 games above 500, but it's the fact that this was a game 2, going back there, they absolutely should have won, and they only have themselves to blame. I cannot emphasize that enough. It was so damn frustrating to see the fact that the Mets had bases loaded in both games, had multiple guys on in numerous innings in both these games, and they were only able to squander a run or two here or there. It's like the Mets simply can't hit almost without having 2 outs. And I love the Mets hitting with 2 outs. I love how resilient this team is. I love the fact that you can never say die with this club. And that's why we're all that more frustrated, because the Mets really grind this one out and tied the game in game 2 just to lose it in the top of the 9th. It's so frustrating, but I will say again, this is promising, knowing at least that the Mets are continuing to take everything game by game and not ending anything easy whatsoever. And again, I know that we have high standards for this club now, rightfully so. We have high standards for this offense. We have high standards for this rotation and the pitching as a whole. The Mets are without multiple players right now based on either injuries, away because of family reasons, or whatever it may be, but they have still been able to fight this adversity damn well, but they need to be better with this approach when you have multiple guys on. I've not seen nearly enough that is making me put a smile on my face. I'm loving the 2-out RBIs. I'm loving the resiliency again, but I need to see more of it. I really hope that they can back up Max Scherzer, try to jump on the Cardinals early. I believe Hicks is pitching tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he is. He's the reliever turned starter. That's a game you 1,000% need to take full advantage of. Hopefully Hicks only, say, going a couple innings, and then a full bullpen game for the most part for the Cardinals. Take advantage. That's what I want to see more of. This was a doubleheader split, but everyone's reactions right now, live or replay, you would think that the Mets got swept today and got pistol whipped 10-0 in both games by how outrageous everyone's reacting. Again, I'm frustrated. I know you guys are too. I 100% understand. Trust me when I say that I am very much so pissed off right now. I'm trying to stay composed so I can be the best that I can here on camera. But yeah, I'm not happy. I'm happy that the Mets at least got a win today, but I'm not happy about how that game ended. I'm so furious with the officiate again. I mean, Canna back, look, 0-2 count on him right away, and he worked it back to 2-2, which was nice. He struck out, so again, that's on him. But both those strikes in the beginning were both clear balls. The same way in game 1, I believe, where there was a strikeout on one of the Mets in which it was a clear ball. I mean, this happens so much today. It's happened all year long. And again, I know that we shouldn't use this as an excuse. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying that there's no denying that played a factor in things. It was just so damn frustrating. But from that being said, folks, I'm now going to start answering all your comments, questions, and concerns. I'm ready for the positivity. If you queue up on my sarcasm, I'm going to answer your donations again. I very much so appreciate all you guys being here. Hopefully the Mets can bounce back tomorrow so you guys can stop acting like the sky is falling. You absolute schmucks, every single one of you. You know the drill. But again, I'll be cutting things off for you guys right now. Nimmo doesn't sound too concerned about his leg contusion, which is great. Hopes to play tomorrow. Mets said he was day-to-day, so maybe Nimmo will be back this series. I guess we'll see. It'll be a wait and see to see how much swelling he gets on his knee area and also see truly how much he can run. But the Mets need Brandon Nimmo, in my opinion. You already don't have Marte for this series. The last thing that you need is to not have Nimmo either. 2 of your 3 starting outfielders gone. That's a hard bullet to bite. So proud of this team for winning game 1 in the bullpen game. They did an amazing job, and I'm proud of this team overall, but I need to see them do better. I need to see them execute more offensively when it matters most. I feel that today there was just too many wasted opportunities. At the end of the day, they had themselves to blame. This game did not end because of Eduardo Escobar's throw there in the 9th. I'm sorry to break it to you. This game ended because of the fact that the Mets simply couldn't hit a lick. They could not score runs when they had bases juiced with literally less than 2 off of getting the bases loaded from walks, no less. Same way they had bases loaded again in game 1 and only squandered a run. Thankfully, that didn't hurt them because they won in the end. But it's these type of opportunities you need to continue to execute on. I need to see more from them, and I truly pray that we start to see that and hopefully have some type of offensive breakout against Jordan Hicks and the bullpen for the Cardinals tomorrow in game 3 with Mad Max on the bump. But again, guys, that's going to cut things off here for people on replay in the live stream. I'm going to answer your comments now. But again, for people on replay, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about after this whirlwind of a Mets game, overall 2 games, splitting the doubleheader 1-1? They look hopefully to get a series lead tomorrow, 2-1 with Mad Max on the bump. But how do you feel? Are you really pissed off? Are you happy, sad, in between, about a win and a loss, whatever it may be? Please make sure to let me know in the comments below for my people on replay. And again, this is where I'll be cutting things off.